What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Young Big Mac. We are back with another deck profile. We have Mew VMAX. It's updated. All right, I will link in the description my original list. I have updated it. I do feel like this list is better, so let's go over it right away. So starting off the list, unchanged, is we are playing 3 Mew VMAX Cross Fusion Strike copies any of our bench Fusion Strike Pokemon's attacks, and Max Miracle is a shred effect. Really good card. We are playing 3. I have seen some people go down to just 2 copies. I'm not a whole fan of that. I do prefer the 3 copies. So we are going to stick with 3 copies for now. Next up, we have Mew V Energy Mix. Search your deck for an energy card, attach it to one of your Fusion Strike Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. I don't think I've ever used this card to attack with Energy Mix, but I have used Psychic Leap. You may shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck for 70 damage. Usually that's how you heal your Mew VMAX. So you have one of these on your bench, you're attacking with Mew VMAX, and you just Psychic Leap the Mew VMAX back into your deck, and it basically heals your Mew VMAX. I am playing 4 copies. Again, I have seen some people go down to 3 copies. I think this is the card you want to start since it does have free retreat. So I don't think I'll ever go below 4 copies because I would only get one more slot in the deck, and I don't feel like I would ever need anything else for that one slot. I don't think I could just add one more card. I'd want to add like 3 or 4, and at that point I would just make too many cuts. So we're going to stay with the 4 copies. Next up, we have Genesect V with the Fusion Strike System ability. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have the same amount in your hand as Fusion Strike in play. So basically, if you have 6 Fusion Strikes in play, you can draw 2, you have 6 cards in your hand. You also have Technoblast, which is the attack we usually attack with, which we copy with Mew VMAX. It does 210. During your next turn, this Pokemon can attack. But we do play Switch and Mew V, and Mew VMAX does have free retreat. And again, we are playing 4 copies. I don't think I've seen anyone go down to 3. I think 4 is good because you just want as many of these on the bench as possible so you can draw as many cards in your turn as possible. Next up, we have Meloetta, another Fusion Strike Pokemon. With the Meloetta's Echo attack, this attack does 70 damage for each Fusion Strike energy attached to all your Pokemon. So with 4 of them attached, if you do have 4, you do 280. You also have Choice Belt, which adds another 30 to V and VMAX, V Union, and V Stars. And then you also have Power Tablets, which adds an extra 30. So going second on your first turn, you can usually knock out your opponent's active V Pokemon, which puts you in a really strong game state, which is why this card makes the deck so good. And we are playing 2 copies unchanged from the last list. Next up, we have a new addition to the list. We have Oricorio, another Fusion Strike Pokemon with the ability Lesson in Zell. All your Fusion Strike Pokemon take 20 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. After applying weakness and resistance, you can't apply more than one of these abilities at a time. It also has the attack Glistening Droplets. Put 5 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. This is good in the Malamar matchup, the Rapid Strike Malamar matchup, since you can Fusion Strike, you can SLS Sparkle to this, attach per turn, and then you're putting 5 damage counters on their Pokemon in any way you like, which is enough to knock out an Inkay. And then you leave a 1 prizer in the active, which is very tough for Malamar since they want to take multiple prizes in one turn. So they want to knock out a V or VMAX since they are a single prize deck. Starting off our trainers, we have Rose Tower. Once during each player's turn, that player may draw cards until they have 3 in your hand. Basically, it's like a mini Genesect. We were playing 1 copy in our last list, but we bumped it up to 3 copies. I was experimenting with the Tower of Darkness, but I do like Rose Tower over that. I would like a 4th copy, but I don't think there's room in the deck for a 4th copy right now. But the 3 is good as long as you don't play them prematurely against decks that play Path of the Peak. Next up, we have SLS Sparkle. Choose up to 2 of your Fusion Strike Pokemon. For each of them, search your deck for a Fusion Strike energy card and attach it to that Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So you basically get to cheat out 2 Fusion Strike energies, which really helps with Meloetta turn 1, since you can get 2 and then attach per turn. That's doing a lot of damage, usually enough to knock out a V. If not, you have Choice Belt and Power Tablet. So we are playing 3 copies. I was wanting to put a 4th, but again, there was no room for a 4th, so we're playing 3. This deck draws tons of cards, and you usually find it when you need it. So we're sticking with the 3 copies. Next up, we have Boss's Order. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. We were playing this in our other list, but we are only playing 2, and now we are up to 3 copies, and I really do like the 3 copies over the 2, considering there's some matchups you really want to gust, and you want to use as many gusts as possible. So we were playing the 3. Again, I don't think I would play 4, but if I could find room, I might add a 4th copy. So we're going to start off our item cards with Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards from your hand, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Basically, we discard 2 cards from our hand, we search any Pokemon. You can fail it, but since we're drawing so many cards with Genesect and we want to discard the dead cards, this card really helps us. So we were playing 4, unchanged from the last list. I don't think you would ever want to play 3, you just want to discard as many cards that you don't need as you want during your turn. Following up the Ultra Ball, we play Quick Ball. Discard 1 card from your hand, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Ultra Ball gets any Pokemon, this only gets basic, but since you're mainly playing basics, this card isn't bad. Plus, you can discard cards you don't need and draw more cards with Genesect. We were playing 4 copies, unchanged from the last list, and if I could play more copies, I probably would, and I don't think I would ever go down to any less. Next up, we were playing another card that discards cards from your hand and searches out stuff. We were playing Cramomatic. You can only play this card if you discard another item card, item specifically, from your hand. Flip a coin if heads. I'm not a huge fan of flipping coins, but this card does work when it works, and it doesn't when it doesn't. And then you search your deck for any card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Any card, so you can discard an extra Battle VIP pass, which is mainly why you play this, and search for any card. Usually you want to do this turn 1 to try and search for SLS Sparkle if you don't have it in your starting hand or draw into it. We were playing 4 copies, again, unchanged from the last list. I don't think I would ever go below 4 copies because this card is insanely cracked, especially with as many items as we do play. Following up the Cramomatic, we have Battle VIP Pass. You can only use this card during your first turn. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, put them onto your bench, and shuffle your deck. Really good card, helps you find all your basics turn 1. And since you have so many ways of discarding this, later on in the game when it's a dead card, you're not too stressing. Again, we are playing 4 copies, unchanged from the last list. And I don't think I would go, I used to play 2 and then I went up to 3 and now I'm at 4, and I really like the 4 copies. I feel like it's either 4 copies or no copies of this card. Next up, we have Road and Phone. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose one of them, shuffle the other cards back into your deck and put that card on top. When you're playing Genesect and Rose Tower and you can just draw into cards, this card basically stacks your deck legally. Now, there's some players out here that cheat, that stack their deck, but this card allows you to legally stack your deck. It is phenomenal. We are playing 4 copies, unchanged from the last list again. Really solid card. I feel like a lot of people are cutting this card for more text, which is perfectly fine. I don't think I would ever go and get rid of Road and Phone. I really like this card in this list. Next up, we have another really broken card in this list. It is Power Tablet. During your turn, your Fusion Strike Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to the active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. Basically, you play this, it's an extra 30 damage. So we are playing 4, the maximum amount of copies we can play in a list. If I could play more, I probably would. Unfortunately, I can't. You're limited to the 4. Really good card. I don't think I would cut this since it's free damage. Why would you not want to do free damage? Unchanged from the last list again. Next up, we have Choice Belt. The attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active V. That includes VMAX, V-Star, and V-Unions. We are playing 2 copies, unchanged from our last list. Very good card. I've seen some people go down to 1. I personally like the 2, just for consistency reasons. Next up, we have Switch. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Very basic card. This we are playing in 2. I've seen some people go up to 3. I like the 2 since Mew has free retreat. Meloetta usually gets knocked out after it takes a KO, so you really only need Genesect. We do play another switch effect in this list, which is coming up next, and we do have double turbo energy, which works as basically a switch for our Genesect if they're stuck in the active. Next up is a new addition to this list, and it is Escape Rope. Each player switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench. Your opponent switches first. Basically, it's like a pseudo boss's orders as an item. I've taken some really nasty knockouts with this when they've only had 2 Pokemon and they put their Dookie Pokemon that they want knocked out in the active and they're hiding their other Pokemon on the bench. You basically play this, it switches them, and then you can just knock it out. Mew has free retreat, so you're not stressed about that, and it's another switch effect that we can use to get our Genesect out of the active. The next card is the last card for items, and it is another new addition to this list. It is Echoing Horn. Put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto their bench. Really good card. I wasn't a fan of this at first, but when I saw some really nasty plays with this, I have to put a copy in. Basically, you can play this, put an opponent's V on their bench, then you can just boss's order it up, and then you knock it out and you take 2 prizes. Really nasty, pretty disrespectful card, honestly. Don't know why they printed it, but they did. And we are playing that in our list. Starting off our energies, we have Fusion Strike Energy. This card can only be attached to a Fusion Strike Pokemon. If it isn't, you have to discard it, but since we only play Fusion Strike Pokemon, that isn't a worry. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but only one at a time. Prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities done to the Pokemon this card is attached to. Very, very good card. We are playing 4, unchanged from the last list. Basically, this helps us take knockouts turn 1 with Meloetta. It is also good if your opponent's playing some quick shooting Inteleons because they can't target a Pokemon with Fusion Strike Energy attached to it. Very good card, and I really like it. So we're staying with the 4. Next up, we have Double Turbo Energy, the last card in this list. We played 1 copy in our previous list, and we played 2 basic Psychic Energies. We are off the basic Psychic Energies, and we are up to 3 Double Turbo Energies. Basically, we could do attach this, and it starts swinging with a Mew VMAX right away. We do 20 less damage when we attach this to a Pokemon, but when we have Choice Belt and Power Tablets, that negative 20 really doesn't affect us that much. That's it for our deck profile update on the best deck can format, Mew VMAX. What did you think of the list? What would you change? What would you add? Let me know in the comments section what deck I should do next. Don't forget to look in the description for places where I buy Pokemon cards, as well as I'll put the full deck list in there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next YouTube video.